Yeguso edi dwumadie no ebremo POG Media message or subscribe like dwumadie no share na ma for friends so insan be kindly click on the notification bell so send e be ya ye de any news be out platforms so I want so obohunu de echo and de ba yenko dwumadie no so nyemfa nsem foforo nye de embrewa eye K.Pratt edi nsem dodo na ye de aba betudwa eche ma hwe K.Ofori ata nyoma bi a oye no ntwa yi intino K.Ofori ata onja nyoma na oye no na obeba Ghana ombra Ghana or the any so pa ne kasaye na or ye de or share a displeasure about how I can can Oforiata and then you may be a there for so yanko you can kuti yansama or your penny at the tuja.
The former finance minister expresses concern over the office of the special prosecutor declaring a red alert on him, the statement adds, and you can see it displayed on your screens. Obviously, you like the update?
Well, first of all, there are so many things that don't hang together properly.
Okay.
One of them is the merry-go-round, that the special prosecutor is subjecting us. I know it's a fact. And according to the little law that I know, Mr. K.Ofori is not under any obligation to cooperate with the investigating authorities.
Yes.
So Mr. Ofori can come into Accra and say that I won't talk, I won't answer questions, and it will be perfectly within his legal rights. So this impression that until and unless we brought Mr. K.Ofori into Accra and taking him into a room in the special prosecutor's office, investigations will be stalled. It's problematic. I don't understand it.
Okay.
I don't understand it at all. He doesn't have to be here for investigations to be conducted or concluded. As a matter of fact, he can even be prosecuted in absentia. So this whole thing about bringing him and red alert and so on, sometimes I have a feeling that it could amount to nothing but red herring. Okay, that's true. Then it's also very clear to me that the many stories that are coming from Mr. K.Ofori himself and his family don't hang together. There's a problem with the stories we are being told. I listened to an interview that Mr. Ofori's wife granted to Joy FM, I think, and I was amazed at the information she herself disclosed. One, they were allowed because his PSC, first of all, they went to the hospital, and his PSC was not, PSC is a blood test, the results of a blood test. It was in a region which suggested that something could be wrong with him. What could be wrong with him had not been determined. Then they went for a second PSC test, and the levels were quite high, leading to a suspicion that something could be wrong with him. But in order to confirm what was wrong with him, they needed to do a biopsy. Okay?
A biopsy.
Biopsy. I'm not a doctor. And that process is just about taking a sample and testing the sample to see whether it was cancerous or not. Okay. So these are the stages. At the time they were shouting that Mr. K.Ofori was indisposed and could not come to Ghana and so on, early in the year, February, according to her, the
biopsy.
The biopsy. Say it again.
Biopsy. Biopsy. I've simplified it.
We're in a medical school today.
Biopsy. Okay. It had not been done.
Yes.
It had not been done. Okay? So the only thing they had was the fact that his PSC level was high.
Yes.
That's not sufficient proof of cancer. It's not sufficient proof of cancer. And that is why the doctors, the neurologists would recommend that you go to the pathologist, they take a sample and they test.
Yes.
So, But be that as it may, even if it is proven that Mr. K.Ofori has prostate cancer, so what? Master, do you know the number of men who have prostate cancer and they are working? You understand? Go to the prison. Find out how many prisoners have prostate cancer. You'll be amazed. In fact, the doctors say that every man, between the ages of 40, 45 and you die, there's a likelihood that you will get it. And many of them get it. You understand? These days, even the medical scientists have developed non-intrusive surgery. Non-intrusive surgery to deal with prostate cancer. So people actually go to the hospital, they have the surgery, and they go back home. The only inconvenience they may have to deal with is that they may have to carry a catheter. You understand? So prostate cancer is not what they make it to be. Master, do you know the number of surgeries people have undergone and they are walking around and so on? Why? This ambulance trial involving Akuffo and so on. You remember one of the accused persons was actually paralyzed. He couldn't walk. He was in a wheelchair. They put him in a wheelchair and wheeled him to the court to go and testify. He was actually partially blind. Compare his state of health to the state of health of K.Ofori, who has been captured in videos eating from Asian restaurants and merrymaking and so on. What are these Ananse stories that are being told us all over the place? What is this? You understand?
Captured in videos.
So do you trust those videos?
Oh.
Well,
yes, these days of AI.
Hold on.
I mean, I didn't expect it from Uncle Kwesi.
These days,
honestly,
we should all be careful about the videos.
Yeah, so good.
It's even possible that that's an old video. Yes. I don't know.
No.
Understand?
No.
If you come to AI, it's a different kettle of fish. So I don't know.
You know.
But then I've seen those videos. I'm not saying that they're authentic or they are not authentic. You understand? But I'm saying that the presence of those videos raises the level of doubt, even if they are false. For those of us who cannot say whether they are false or not, it raises the level of doubt.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Now, you see, so this business of K.Ofori being investigated and so on, let the OSP carry on with the investigation. What is the problem?
That's all.
Are there no documents in the Ministry of
That's
Finance?
That's all.
If they relate to contracts with IMF and other organizations and so on, where are the contracts? You understand? He had deputies. Some of them are still around. He has special assistants. They are still around. There was a chief director at the ministry. He's still around. The banks we operated with are still around. Why is the difficulty? Why is it so very necessary for him and him alone to come before the investigators? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, I'm a bit puzzled. But also he and his wife, that is K.Ofori and his wife, should stop telling us those Ananse stories, you know, because it's not helping them and it's not helping anybody.
Well,
you understand?
I mean, for doubting Thomases who don't even believe that he's undergone any kind of surgery.
There are those people, but I'm not a doubting Thomas.
Okay.
I want to think that Mr. K.Ofori is an honorable person and he would not lie about his state of health.
Okay.
Even as his wife, you know, messes up the whole thing with
the fact that he's undergone surgery successfully.
No, this thing about biopsy or whatever you call it.
Let me read it.
And PSP.
It's called
it doesn't hang together.
Prostate.
Whatever it is.
Okay.
You know, whatever it is. I don't want to be a medical doctor this morning. I'm not now coming to be schooled on how to be a medical doctor on your show. So I can't pronounce the word. It's difficult for me. I'm a simple fancy boy from Kutuwabi down. If I can't pronounce some words, it's okay. You understand? But what I'm saying is this. Those stories don't add up. So they should stop telling us those stories.
Okay.
Let the OSP get on with his work and let's see what the outcome will be.
Okay.
That's all. Simple.
All right.
I read a piece. Okay.
You know, Kwesi speaks Hausa very fluent.
No,
I know,
not fluent. Not fluent.
He just actually. When
I've always interacted with him in Hausa in a way.
Okay.
My Hausa
When
is
I
not
go
fluent.
No, it's good. It's good. It's passable.
On African TV. You see, I read something from the Venerable Martin Amidu.
Sure.
Make no mockery of someone's health. Okay? Make no nonsense of someone's health. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody tomorrow. But when I read it, I was like, wow, this is quite informing and alerting. And he was actually writing on the back of what we are discussing today, the K.Ofori matter. That is why I'm not a lawyer, but most lawyers have said that, look, health grounds are enough grounds, okay, to defer certain matters in terms of justice delivery. And I want to agree with Kwesi when he says, look, I made this point 3 weeks ago when I was here. I said, look, nothing stops you. That is why public wrong is a public wrong. You have wronged the state. The state says what you did was untoward. There are laws against it. Contrary to those laws, you are charged. The state says whether you come to court or you don't come to court, the court will summon you. And when they summon and you don't appear, the judgment will be entered in default against you. It's there. So I'm surprised that all these things are before us.
Yeah.
But yet, we are here talking about going to Minnesota and going to Mayo and going to wherever. I think that is not proper. First of all, I would like to say that the statement you just showed us on TV, coming from his wife, comes to cement the fact that indeed there's some truth being told about his health. We should know that K.Ofori has a history of health. Even when he was appointed as finance minister, to appear for vetting, due to health, he could not come. Even when budget was supposed to be read, a national assignment of that by him, because of health, he wasn't even present to do that. These were good times even. So what reason do we have to say that he's lying about himself? To the extent they want to trivialize it and say we've seen some videos that he's been dancing and then he's merrymaking somewhere. I think it's not proper, it's not fair. It's not. Yes, some people might have been taken to court under conditions that they are not supposed to. That doesn't mean that it was right. Some people have actually shown that they are not well, but yet security forces or agencies.
Yo, never call from you, no, so no subscribe. Yeah, subscribe, like it, and share them out for friends. So, and can be kindly click on the notification button. So, send a be the news be out of platform. So, I also well who the air bar and the air corner. Or from you, no, Dr. Baku bin so man on the in some do na air to jam. If I have a K.Ofori Atanioma or and I think he's an MPP. And also for the year K.Ofori Atan air and also or then some people to join coding Kunkuti.
Went to them inhumanely and brought them before the law. I think it wasn't right. If it happened yesterday, it shouldn't happen today. So for K.Ofori to have come out to say, look, I am not well, and you can go ahead with it. Why? It was K.Ofori in Ghana when SML offices were raided. No. You went and had a warrant, you went to SML, you have been able to do the work you want to do. Still ongoing. So this brouhaha, K.Ofori, and the wife has to come and whatever. Look, I think that, look, a noble man who has served this country, if for nothing at all, as the finance minister, we hailed him in 2017, in 2018.
Who hailed him?
Why? Most Ghanaians? If you did not, we did. I was part of it. Why?
I didn't.
When we saw Abu kind people saying that, look, this is a finance minister we wanted because he had taken some taxes off for them on purpose. They hailed him. He's done some good to this country. I'm not saying he's perfect. He can never be 100%. And I'm not saying he's not supposed to be amenable to investigation. He's supposed to be. However, we should try to handle matters the way humanely we're supposed to handle it. Once again, I am back to my point. The politics on matters is too much here.
Okay.
I'm not sure the wife will go and use an institution's name. Okay?
Right.
When in fact it's not the case.
Okay.
That hospital will not listen.
All right.
The US and other areas will not just countenance us.
Okay.
I'm not sure the wife will say that he has gone into theater when in fact it's not so.
All right.
So I believe that some credence is given to the story that he's indeed not well.
Okay.
Let's look at what it is and then see how.
Let me read a few messages and we'll come to...
Except that, small, you know, except that.
Yeah.
When his own side of parliament petitioned for his removal and one of the grounds was ill health,
Yes.
he came back and told us that, look, he has very strong genes. At the time, the complaint was about his liver.
But when you get well.
Hold on. The complaint was about his liver.
Yeah.
And said he has so strong genes that in spite of his liver condition, he can continue to be minister.
Yeah.
Have you forgotten?
Well, when you are
So he
well, you
himself
can get
said-
well.
He himself said that ill health should not be a condition which can be used to justify non-performance of duty. He himself said that because of his strong genes. What has happened
By
to
implication, or what?
what has happened to his strong genes?
Oh, you see.
Have the strong genes deserted him?
We want us to go back and forth on this matter. Like I said, we are all humans. Sickness can visit anybody.
your genes-
That's what we
your
did
genes
to,
can
with a
escape.
great respect, that's what we did to Professor Mose of blessed memory. We were taking his health for granted. To the extent that we asked him to be trotting at the airport. To show to the world that he's strong.
You and who asked him to
Yes. So the man came from airport, I'm from America, and I'm healthy, everything is fine. And the next moment, what
So
happened
you
to
and
us?
who-
So you see, we should not be joking with me.
Let me read this message.
Because I don't remember
we should
telling Professor Mose to trot at the airport.
but the man was jogging at the airport just to prove to us that he was well, because we were trivializing his health.
You and who? When you say you and
I'm
who are you
speaking
talking
in
about?
generics anyway.
No, you keep using
And that's
we,
I'm sorry
just
to say do this, but
Akuffo
that's a
said he
fact,
doesn't
and that's what we
remember-
should be
he
doing.
doesn't remember
He doesn't
asking.
remember. I do remember. That's fine. I mean, it lies with me not to remember, and maybe I will remember. So you
So
see,
you remember that you and others urged Professor Mills to trot at the airport?
I remember that people were. You see, I remember that there was some trotting, there was some jogging. You see, and I think we shouldn't be trivializing health issues at all.
So let me read a few
should
messages.
not.
So Bosa Al Hassan from Tema says, in 2016, sorry about this, I'm tearing. In 2016,
Sorry, very sorry.
You see what you have done to me. You see what you have done to me.
What have I done?
He's crying. Mo is crying. You made him cry.
You are ha and edin some libesi ediam nyame hwa so ahwe dwumadie no ebesi ese me onka ho onche wa him na onye okese dwumadie no ye de besi na ye de afoforo nso ayede abremu da bia on POG Media oni edita so de na hwe dwumadie no efama Sunday da bia support ye no support ya brand bia nyame insha pa makram.